Mining update, lesson about the industry and job hunt video. Welcome to Australian Mining for New Starters, and today we're going to go through the prices. In the lesson I'm going to talk about how you could get a job as an entry-level person, as a new starter, how does it all work, the best ways to go through it, and some of the unwritten rules involved. And then we're going to do a job hunt video at the end using all the normal titles. So let's have a look at the prices to start with. So gold's up around that $3,640 a mark, and in Australian dollars, and it's just slipped below 2,400 US, so it's down 23.85. Copper is 13,840 a ton, which is really good, keeping the copper price up there. Coal price is still around that $106 a mark, so it's still around that area that a lot of mines are going to struggle with. And the iron ore price is 106.86, and yeah, it's still maintaining that level between 120 and 80, where everybody reckons it's going to remain. So as long as it keeps there, yeah, things should be pretty good. But like we've already talked about, iron ore is doing a bit of a rationalisation at the moment. There's a few big mines shut down, and they're getting rid of a lot of middle management, so they're stripping it back and making it more profitable. So that's the prices. Let's have a look at our map, and we'll start talking about our lesson. So this is our map with all the mines on in Australia that are gold mines and base metal mines, so everything that's going into batteries. So a lot of these places are forward sold. The ones that aren't, a few of the nickel mines like Savannah's and the Nickel West are all going to be put into care and maintenance, but a lot of the other mines that provide stuff for batteries like lead and zinc and silver and all that sort of stuff are all going great guns and need people. So don't just limit yourself to the gold mines to start with, also have a look at the base metal mines as well around the country. But as we talk about with the prices, one of the reasons I do the prices is because I try just to get through to people that coal and iron ore, while the price is still there, to keep a lot of these mines going, it's not to the point where they have to hire lots of new starters. So the first big tip, when you're looking for these jobs, is always make sure that you're going to the area of the industry that they actually need people. The next big tip that I give to people is that you need to be a bit flexible about where you want to go. But if you can't be flexible, so if you're in Brisbane and you're based there and you want to get a fly in fly out up here, or a drive in drive out to New South Wales, you just need to budget a bit of time. The more restricted the location that you're looking for the job, the more time it generally takes. But the other thing, like I've been doing this for 5 years now, in this stint, working for this company that I'm working for, Underground Training, and it never ceases to amaze me how many people get the job that they're after. So I always encourage people to work their plan for their dream job and give themselves appropriate time to get that job to start with. So if you're just looking in an isolated area like New South Wales or Queensland, or you're just down to one state, or even Tasmania or South Australia, you just need to give yourself a little bit more time for it to turn. So I'm going to go through the process of how employers look for people for new starters, and the reasons why they want experience, they ask for experience and they don't really want new starters. We'll have a look. We'll talk about that more in a sec. But the big thing is that if you really want a job tomorrow, the best place to go at the moment is to one of the big mining towns. And the biggest mining town in the country is Kalgoorlie, so you need to head there. There's a lot of work up around Mount Isa as well, and there's also a lot of work around Cobar in in New South Wales. So they're the three mining towns. The big one that I would recommend that everybody heads to is Kalgoorlie, but don't just head there on a wing and a prayer. You need to have a plan, and you need to be prepared. These are the unwritten rules that I've got, that I did videos for. So you can grab these. They're just on the playlist here, or the podcast, so you can grab on those and have a look at these rules. But there's some really important stuff on here, like this one, 6 months in your first mining job. That's really important. Once you do 6 months and 1 day, it's like a bit like the mafia. You're in for life. And what I tell people is that, if you're really looking for a job in Queensland or the East Coast and it's not happening for you there, then maybe you should think about temporarily relocating to Kalgoorlie. Now, the people in Kalgoorlie want to hear that you're going to be there for, you're moving forever and a day. But, interviews aren't conducted, under polygraph or anything like that. And it can be your full intent to relocate to Kalgoorlie. But once you've got your 6 months experience up or a little bit longer than that and a job comes up back in your home state, there's nothing wrong with taking that. And, people do it all the time. But you can't go into an interview telling people in Kalgoorlie that you only want a job for 6 to 12 months to get your experience and then move back to your home state, because you won't get the job if you do that. So you just need to play the game like I try and tell people. But yeah, you've got to go where the jobs are and where people are desperate. And the other thing is that with the experience, what I try to tell people is one of the reasons why we're going to have a look at this in our job hunt video. But the experience that the employers are after is for the new starter jobs. So for jobs like truck and Offsider and nipper and all that sort of stuff, the experience that the employer wants is knowing how the mine works, so you know what's going on around you and all that sort of stuff. Teaching you how to drive the truck is really easy. Teaching you how to nipper is really easy. It's not really complicated. What everybody struggles with is learning enough about what's going on around them so they can keep up with it all. It just is the way it is. And if we have a look at the jobs, you'll see. If we type underground into Seek, you'll see all of them come up, and there's lots of entry-level stuff for nipper and truck, but there's also a lot of nipper and truck jobs where they want experienced people. And why do they want experienced people? It's for safety. And if we have a look at this Hillgrove Resources ad, which was pretty good, I read this last night, they're saying essential. Underground mining experience is essential. They only want experienced people. And why do they want experience is required? It's safety. They only want experienced truck drivers because of safety conscious culture here, and they want people that know what's going on. Now the problem with that is, and the reason why they can't just grab experienced people from anywhere, is that there's not a lot of experienced truck drivers going around. And in the pecking order of everything, the truck job is on the bottom of the totem pole. So if you've got somebody at the moment in the middle of this big boom that we've got going on at the moment, if you've got somebody coming into your company with 6 to 12 months truck driving experience or even 2 years truck driving experience, from a shift boss's point of view, I'm looking at that person, especially if they've got 12 months or 2 years experience as a truck driver, I'm looking at them going, what's wrong? Why aren't they on service crew already? Why haven't they made the next move up? And that's the problem that all these companies are facing. Anybody that's any good gets promoted up straight away, and then you get left with a lot of dead wood that just, they can drive a truck, but that's about it, and they don't always drive that very well. So when they're pulling people across and they're putting them on their crews with experience, they tend to go through a few people like that as well, because the people that they're bringing in, they're not the best, unfortunately. So that's why you see a lot of these experienced jobs, and it goes round and around in a big circle. So they'll hire a bunch of new starters will fail. So somebody high up in management goes, we're spending too much money on these new starters, I only want you to hire experienced people. And so the edict goes out that you can't hire any new starters for the next 2 months or 3 months, we can only hire experienced people. So then they try and get the experienced people in, and then that'll be hit and miss as well. So like I said, they might get a couple of people that work out, but the majority of experienced people that they'll get in for the truck jobs and the nipper jobs and all that sort of stuff will be dead wood off another mine site. So the work, it turns again, because they'll have those people fail, or they'll get those people on site, and like I said, they're dead wood, so they're not actually helping, they're dragging you down, they're making things harder. So those people get turned over, and then the wheel turns again. We've tried it, experienced people, they don't work, so we've got to go back to entry level again, and then it just keeps going round and round in circles. But the big thing that you need to understand is that it never really ends once we're in a boom like we're in at the moment. They're always going to be chasing their tails for new starters, because that's just the way it works. And it's not just one area of the country, it's all over the country. And as you can see, there's lots and lots of jobs all over the country that you can be applying for, especially in the hard rock underground mining space. And the best thing to do to get into one of those things is to be prepared. Teach yourself how it all works. You can use the 3-step plan package to do that. It teaches you everything that you need to know about about how the mine works. So the education part is covered by our DIY package. You get your resume done by Jess, and it becomes pretty easy to network once you know how it all works. And we've had a few people lately get jobs with that, so that's pretty good with that. But yeah, it's definitely the way in. So the next one we'll have a look at is surface. And if you we type under surface into Seek, you'll see the jobs come up, and they, like we talk about, they're mainly offsider jobs. There's not a lot of there's not a lot of entry-level surface jobs going, because most of the entry-level surface jobs have been replaced by driverless trucks. And again, with the jobs, because there's such limited amount of jobs on the surface, they can be picky. They can't be picky in the underground mines, because there's so many mines around that need people, because they can't replace the underground trucks with the driverless trucks, because they can't use the exclusion zones in the underground mine and do it all safely like it has to be done. So they need bums in seats. On the surface, they don't. So you see a lot of drillers offsiders jobs, any of the surface dump truck jobs going, they all want experience. That's just going to ramp up. It's going to be really hard to get an entry-level job for the next few months, or for the next 6 to 12 months, especially with Nickel West shutting down. They had a big open pit in the middle of WA that, everybody will lose their jobs from, and that they'll move on to other surface mines where they need experienced truck drivers and diggers and all-rounders and all that sort of wonderful stuff. So yeah, just be aware of that. If you're looking for a way in, then you should be looking at hard rock underground, offsiding, that sort of stuff. There's Pacefill Crew. I'm not sure what that's doing on the surface. That's an underground job. We've had a fair few people. Quattro's a great place to apply to. We've had a fair few people that have gotten in through there that have done the training. Shout out to David, who I showed a video of last week. He got a job with them back in the day. But yeah. Next one is drillers offsiders, and as you can see, there's lots of drillers offsiders jobs around. But like I tell everybody, if you want a drillers offsiders job, then you really need to like camping. There's a lot of work that goes on out in the bush, so you got to be happy to live in a caravan or to be camping it. If you don't want to camp as a drillers offsider, then have a look at the underground jobs. All those jobs come with camps, so you go and live in the camp and you work in the underground mine. You don't have to worry about cooking dinner for everybody. Somebody else does that for you, and you get your own room. So that's why a lot of people like to go into the underground side of drilling offsiding. There's lots of work around. SWIC have got an open job ad around for the whole of Australia, but as you can see, there's jobs everywhere. And lastly is the utility work, the FIFO, and there's a fair bit of utility work around. You just need to make sure that you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. So utility work, a lot of people think, there's a big rumours around that a lot of people can get a utility job and then jump into a production job, so just move from one company to another. You really need to have a look at all the videos that I've done on the poaching rules. So just go to the Australian Mining for New Starters YouTube channel, have a look at click the hourglass here and write poaching rules in, and you'll see all the videos that I've done on poaching. So you can have a look at all that. And, long and short of it is that they got sick of, the utility companies got sick of losing all their people to the mine site. So they had it put in their contract that when you go onto one of these sites, that if you're going to move companies, then you've got to go off-site for 6 months before you can move back with a new company. And that pretty much killed the poaching of people dead in its place. But I'll talk more about it in these videos that you can have a look at. So that's what's going on there. But yeah, there's lots of work all over the country. Whether you come to Kalgoorlie to get your experience and look at going home, or you try to relocate to WA into Perth, there's a lot of fly and fly out, so a lot of people are relocating to Perth permanently or even relocating to Kalgoorlie permanently. I've had 3 separate stints in Kalgoorlie. I took my missus to Norseman for 18 months as well. Kalgoorlie's great. I found it really good. It's what you make it. But there's lots of work around there, and you just need to decide that if you want a proper mining career, then you've got to chase the work around the country, and sometimes that involves moving. I know a lot of people like to get into mining because the mine's just up the road and they think they're going to stay there forever. The amount of people that stay in a mine for 10, 15, 20 years is, it's really rare. I know a lot of people that work for the same company for 10, 15, 20 years, but in that 10, 15, 20 years, they probably go to 5 or 6 different mines over that time working for the same company. So just keep an open mind about it all. You need to sometimes relocate if you're chasing the work, but also be patient and give it a little bit of time. Chase that dream job. Like I said, the amount of people that I've come across over the journey that have chased the dream job and got it, I'm really am very surprised at, because more people than I thought get their dream job. So just make sure that when you applying, that you give yourself some time, you prepare yourself, and you know what's going on. So I hope you found that information helpful, and the lesson about looking for a new starter's job, go where the work is, be prepared, use the 3-step plan or the work ready or the DIY package to get yourself educated, get your resume sorted out, make it a mining specific resume, and then once you've got your education and your resume, it's pretty easy to make a mining contact these days. So I hope you found that information helpful, and if you could share this video around, and if you could like and subscribe the channel. Thanks.